Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a drawer tour of my complexion products. So I have them here in my Alex desk from IKEA, and I have them all kind of categorized into different little bins and stuff like that. So I have primers, foundations, and concealers. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. If you like these collection videos and you want to see more, definitely let me know down below. All right guys, here we go. So let's get started. I have my primers over on this side of the drawer, and they're in these little turquoise containers that I got at Michael's. I don't know if they still are available. I tried looking on the website and they're not listed online, but it could be something that is like in store only type of thing. So I have 3 of those with all of my primers, and then over here I have my foundations separated into different categories, and then also my concealers and color correctors over here. And these little containers are actually from the Dollar Tree, and they are available online, so I will link those down below. They're amazing because they're only $1, and they actually have these rubber grips underneath right here. The bottom is grippy, so it's great for storing blushes. I actually have a bunch of my blushes in these, and when you line them up, they don't slide because they have the grip underneath. So I think they're just a fantastic option for $1, and I have longer ones and also some shorter ones as well. They have 2 different sizes. So let's go ahead and start with the primers first, and these are kind of grouped in no particular order. I probably at some point will group them by like pore smoothing or hydrating, but for now they're just kind of all in there, but at least I don't have that many, so you can kind of see what's there. So first up we have the Huda Beauty Jelly Primer, the Water Jelly Primer, and this one's just a really nice hydrating primer. I don't notice that it smooths out my skin very much, but I just find that makeup sits really nicely on top of it. It just kind of plumps up your skin and makes it really hydrated. I also have the VDL Lumilayer Primer. This is an awesome one if you want to add like a dewy glow underneath your foundation. It's pretty intense, so it does peek through when you add another layer on top. I also have the Touch and Soul No Poreblem Primer, and this one is also amazing if you want to smooth out your pores, but it's not one of the thicker ones like the L'Oreal Studio Secrets, which I'm going to show you in a minute. This one is very lightweight, so I tend to reach for this one more in the summertime when I don't want something heavy sitting on my face, but it's great at smoothing out pores. I also have this little sample. I actually haven't used it yet, of the Urban Decay All Nighter Face Primer. I just got this in a recent Sephora order, so I just threw it in the drawer, but I haven't had a chance to try it. And then these 2 are very, very similar to each other. I have my L'Oreal Studio Secrets Primer and also the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer, and both of these are really, really similar. They're kind of like a thick, putty sort of texture. Actually, not really putty, they're more of like a whipped kind of a texture, and these are the best at smoothing out pores. And honestly, I think the L'Oreal one and the Tarte one are so similar. I would just go with the L'Oreal. It's so much cheaper, and the Tarte one has a pretty heavy baby powder scent to it, while the L'Oreal doesn't have a scent. So this is my go-to primer. This is the one that I use most often. It just gives my skin the most flawless base. Then in this one here, I have the NYX Marshmallow Primer, and this one's actually really nice. I haven't had it very long, so I've only used it a couple of times, but it's kind of similar to the L'Oreal, but a little bit thinner, so I feel like this one's a little closer to the Touch and Soul one. However, I don't find this is as moisturizing as the Touch and Soul. I also have the City Beauty Skin Perfecting Daily Veil, and this one is actually an SPF primer. It has broad spectrum SPF 39 sunscreen, and it's a mineral sunscreen, so it has titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. There's no chemicals in this one, and this is an awesome, awesome one too. I think I tend to use these more in the summertime also. Then I have the Touche Liquid Silk Canvas Primer, and this is another favorite of mine after the L'Oreal Studio Secrets. I use this one probably the second most often, because this one too is just very smoothing. If you have enlarged pores or fine lines and wrinkles, this is just, you know, kind of smooths everything out and makes your base look really flawless. So I really enjoy this one as well. And then next up we have the YSL Touche Eclat Primer. I really love this one too. This one has kind of like an oil base, so it's actually very, very hydrating on drier skin types, and it makes foundation go on so smoothly. It has more of like a gel-like texture, and I really, really like this one too because it's just so smoothing and gives like a burst of hydration, so foundation goes on so smoothly over this one, so I really like this one too. And last but not least, we have the Peach C Peach Glow Makeup Base, and this one is one that I got from Yes Style, and it's a K-beauty brand. I really, really love it. I actually like this one more than the VDL because this one, even though it gives that shimmer, it's really intense, and this one is a little bit less intense. This one is also like a white color, so it can be a little bit harsh looking, and this one just, it looks so beautiful on the skin. I have to show you guys really quick because whenever I put this one under makeup, my skin just looks so beautiful and glowy. It kind of has like a pinkish tint when you rub it in, so it's very flattering. It's not glittery either, so it just gives kind of like a pearly sheen. It's a little bit more subtle than the VDL, so I usually go for this one, and people can't really tell that you're wearing any kind of shimmer or glitter because it doesn't have that in it. It just makes your skin look really like dewy and healthy. And then all the way in the back here, I have two setting sprays. I have the Pop Makeup Magnet Mist, which I just got recently. I've really been enjoying this. I think it's a great setting spray, but my all-time favorite is definitely the Milani Make It Last. This is one that I use all over my face, and also I use this one if I'm applying eyeshadow and I want to wet my brush. I usually use this, and it just helps eyeshadow to last so much longer. So I think this is a great setting spray, and it's really affordable as well. Another really good primer is the JOAH Blur Activator. This is a great dupe for the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. It's almost identical in feel, and this one actually, the Glow Activator, is a very solid dupe for the YSL. It's almost identical. Again, it doesn't have the same ingredients. This one is a lot cheaper, and I think there's probably more expensive ingredients in this one, but just in terms of how they make your skin feel, this feels almost identical to that one. And then last but not least, I have two Lorac primers. I also just got these very recently. This is the ProSkin Glass Skin Primer and the ProSkin Matte Primer. I actually haven't used these as much as I wanted to, but when I tried them out on my hand in a haul video, I thought that they felt really nice on my skin, so I'm excited to play with these. I don't know why I keep forgetting to pull them out. I think the glass skin one seemed particularly good, so I'll have to update you guys a little bit later on what I think of these. Alright guys, moving right along, I have my foundations in these three, and I have like my medium to more full coverage foundations in these two, and then over here I have more of my tinted moisturizers. So let's start with these, and I'll show you guys some of my favorites. The first one is the Misha Chobayang BB Cream. And I like this one so much more than the Misha Perfect Cover that everybody talks about, because that one has more of a grayish tone to it, and this one actually has a very natural color to it. This one is shade 21, so you can see that it doesn't have that grayish tint, and it also doesn't have like that shimmer to it or the sheen that the Perfect Cover has, but it's also not a flat matte. I think it's the most perfect satin finish foundation, and it just looks like your natural skin. It doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look dry, it has SPF 30. I wore this one the entire summer. I actually have a backup still in the box right here. So this is definitely one of my favorite foundations, hands down. Another really great one, of course, is the Believe Beauty foundation. This one's only $5. You can get this at Dollar General. Unfortunately, you can't get it online though, so if you don't have a Dollar General near you, I don't know how you could get this. I keep asking them if they could put these online because I think everyone would buy it. It is such an amazing foundation for $5. Again, it has that really skin-like, very natural finish, and it's just like a perfect medium coverage foundation. It's really nice. Also, we have this one from Soap and Glory that's been discontinued, and I bought this because it was a dupe for the CYO Life Proof foundation, which got discontinued originally, and it has the exact same ingredient list. They were both owned by the same parent company, so I was very excited to find a dupe for the CYO, and then now they've discontinued this one too, so I'm really, really bummed because once this is gone, it's no more, sadly. But again, this one also had great coverage, really natural skin-like finish, and as you'll see, I think most of my favorites in here, that's what they have. I'm somebody who doesn't really like a matte finish. I also don't like something that's too dewy or too glowy because I find that it accentuates fine lines and texture, so I think the satin finish is definitely the most flattering on me these days. I also have the new Huda Beauty foundation stick, and as far as foundation sticks go, really, really enjoy this one too. I also have the Wet n Wild foundation stick, which is in the bathroom right now. Those two are my absolute favorites when it comes to foundation sticks. I think they look the most natural. Let's see. And then down here I have the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. This is so dirty. This one I just did a full review on if you want to check that one out, but I really have been enjoying this as well. I like it so much better than the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. I find that one to be too glowy. This one has that really natural skin-like finish again. I'm going to start to sound like a broken record pretty soon. And the Doll 10 Doll Skin Perfector is another very similar product to this as well, and I just love like the coverage that it gives, but without looking dry, and it has a very natural finish to it as well. And then over here we have another one of my absolute favorites. This is the Zoeva Authentic Skin Foundation. If you like just a medium coverage that looks just like your skin, it doesn't look like you're wearing makeup, there's no glitter, no shimmer, it's just beautiful. This is probably this one and the Misha Choboyang are my two favorites that I use the most often. I just love the finish of this one. Oh, I take that back. This is another favorite. I feel like these three I kind of go through. This is the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue. This is another one, kind of similar to the Choboyang, I think. This one has a slightly dewier finish, but it's not enough glow that I feel like it's highlighting pores or texture like the Cosmetics CC does for me. And this one also has SPF in it as well. I got this one towards the end of the summer, so I did wear it a lot, and every once in a while I do still pull it out and wear it. Again, it's just a beautiful foundation. Next I have the Maybelline Dream Radiant Liquid Foundation, and this one I really loved when it first came out. I loved the finish of it. I thought it was great. The only thing I'll say about this that's not my favorite is that I find it doesn't build upon itself very well. It's great if you just put down one layer, but if you need extra coverage somewhere, I find that adding another layer kind of takes the one beneath it off a little, and it kind of, it sits on top of the skin instead of sinking in. So I'm not as big a fan of this as I was when I initially got it. So once I use this up, I don't know that I will necessarily repurchase it. But this one, actually, I really enjoyed this year. This is the Age Perfect Serum Foundation, and even though it kind of looks like a tinted moisturizer, it has a lot more coverage than that, so that's why I put it in this section. And this one does, again, have a little bit of glowiness to it, but it's not over the top crazy glowy. I do think it's kind of similar to the Estee Lauder, so if you're looking for something like that, but at a much more affordable price, I think this is a good one to definitely check out. I also really love these number 7 Match Made foundation drops. I used to use these a lot more, but now that I have the Zoeva and the Misha that I use more often, I kind of haven't been using these lately, but what I really love to do with these is take a few drops and put it into one of my primers, like the L'Oreal, for example, and kind of make my own tinted primer. And I just love doing that because it looks so flattering on your skin, and you get all the benefits of the primer with a little bit of coverage as well. And you can mix this into anything. You can mix it into your favorite moisturizer, you can mix it into like an oil. If you have really dry skin, you can really do a lot with it. So I just feel like this is a super versatile product to have in your foundation drawer. And then the last one is this Giorgio Armani Neo Nude True to Skin Natural Glow Foundation. And this is another one, when I first got it, the first time I used it, I thought it was really nice. But as I started using it more, I realized that it didn't really sit right on my skin. I didn't like how it looked, and that was back in the summer. I haven't tried it again since, so I may pull this out and test it out a little bit more and see if it's something that I want to keep. But it had kind of, from what I remember, like a sheer to medium coverage, and I initially didn't think it was dry, but then as the day wore on, it looked a little bit drier on me. So there's just other things that I liked a little bit more, and I really haven't been reaching for this that much. And then over here, I have quite a few tinted moisturizers. I have the Dream Fresh BB from Maybelline. I got this one over the summer again, and I just wanted to buy it because I hadn't used it in years, and I heard a couple people talking about it and decided to test it out again for old time's sake, I guess. And I thought it was actually really nice. It's just a very basic tinted moisturizer, so if you don't want a lot of coverage, I think it's really good for that. The L'Oreal Skin Paradise Tinted Water Cream, I really did like this one a lot. This one has a little more coverage than the Maybelline one that I just showed, and it gives a nice, fresh, healthy kind of appearance. Again, not a ton of coverage, but I don't think really any of the ones in this drawer have a ton of coverage, and it's just a really nice tinted moisturizer. Like, I can't really say too much more about it than that. One of my favorites is definitely this one. It's the Neutrogena Hydra Boost Hydrating Tint. This one is so nice. It's very light, again, like a tinted moisturizer, but I think what sets this one apart from the others is that it has hyaluronic acid in it, and it just seems to like plump up your skin. The first time I used this, I put it on, I was like, okay, it's just a tinted moisturizer, whatever. And then I went about my day and I looked in the mirror an hour or two later and was like, why does my skin look so good? And it just like over the course of the day, it just like plumped out my skin, made it look super hydrated. Like I noticed that my fine lines looked less apparent and everything just looks smoother. So this has been a staple for me. I've repurchased this probably 4 or 5 times already in the last couple of years and really, really love it. And then next, this one from Wet n Wild. I just did a video on this as well the other day. I really like this one too. This one actually might not belong in this category because I think for a tinted moisturizer, it actually has pretty decent coverage. It probably should go in this drawer because I'd say it's close to the L'Oreal in terms of coverage, but maybe not quite as glowy as that one. I think this one has more of that very natural kind of satiny skin-like finish. It's really, really nice. Then we have these two from sister brands, Essence and Catrice. We have the Essence My Skin Perfector Tinted Primer and then the Catrice Hydro BB Cream. So this one, it's kind of interesting. It almost feels like a moisturizer. I'm just going to put some on because it's so hard to explain. But it comes out very light looking, and when you rub it in, it just feels like basically you're putting a moisturizer on. It only has a tiny, tiny little bit of coverage. So I feel like this is something that you could put on under your foundation if you wanted to add just a little bit more coverage and you kind of almost wanted to prime with it. That's what it feels like to me. But the Essence one has a little bit more coverage and more of like a blurring, more of a blurring type of effect to it. And this one is technically a tinted primer, but I keep it over here just because some days I wear this alone if I'm not really going anywhere and I don't need coverage. I just put this one on and it just kind of makes your skin look a little smoother and more perfected. Then the Balm Shelter Tinted Moisturizer from The Balm. I actually got this over the summer with their during their 50% off sale, and I really love this one as well. I think it's an awesome tinted moisturizer. It's probably one of my favorites in this whole drawer other than the Neutrogena one, just because it's so hydrating and it just makes my skin look really nice. It has a little bit of glow, but again, it's not shimmery or glittery. I think it just makes my skin look dewy and plump and really healthy and adds a little bit of coverage at the same time. And last but not least, we have this Makeup Revolution Super Dewy Skin Tint, and this one, to be honest with you, it's not really my favorite. I felt like it hardly added any coverage at all. I know it's a tinted moisturizer, but I just felt like it didn't really do anything. So I at least want a little bit of coverage, and I felt like this didn't give me anything. It was just like a moisturizer. It also could be that it was super light. I bought it in the light shade thinking that it would be pretty close to my skin tone, but it's actually super, super, super light. So I find that this range in general leans a little bit lighter. So I kind of was wishing that I had gotten a deeper shade and maybe it would have worked out better for me if I did. But anyway, that is my tinted moisturizer drawer. All right, and then last but not least, I have my concealers and color correctors. So let me just show you the color correctors first. I have a couple different ones. So the first one is by far my favorite. This is the Pixi by Petra Peach Correcting Concentrate, and it looks like that. And I put this one all around my eyes. It hides all of the darkness, and then you can add concealer on top, and it just cancels out everything. It's so beautiful. Believe Beauty also makes one, and this one is not quite as thick as the Pixi, so even though it's the right color, I just feel like it doesn't hide quite as well as the Pixi one does, but it's a little bit thinner, so if you feel like this one is too thick, I think this is a good option. And also Beauty Pie makes one as well, and the Beauty Pie one is a little bit more like the Pixi in terms of how it feels, but I find that the color is too light for me, so it's not peachy enough. It really doesn't color correct as well, so the Pixi is definitely my favorite of the three, and I use this every single day. I also have this concealer in a pot. It's the Time Balm Concealer from The Balm, and this one is just okay. I actually think I'll probably declutter this one because it's a little bit dry. It's just kind of a thick concealer in a pot, and it feels very much like the Pixi color corrector actually, and it's actually a little peachy, but it's not as peachy. So I find that it doesn't really work well for that. I've been kind of keeping it just maybe to use as more of like an eye base because I think it would work pretty well for that based on how thick it is. So I haven't tried that yet. I will. If I can use it for that, then I'll keep tape it. If not, I'll probably just declutter because I just think it's a little too thick for my under eye area. And then when it comes to full coverage concealers, I have a couple that are my absolute favorites. The first one is the Doll 10 TCE concealer, and these are the same thing. This is just the new packaging right here. It's an amazingly full coverage concealer, but it's not cakey or creasy. It's just really, really nice. Let me just show you quickly. I just put way too much. Like, you really only need a tiny little dot of this stuff. A little bit goes a really long way. I could probably cover my whole entire hand with this. I feel like this is like Shape Tape, but better than Shape Tape because it's not as dry and it just kind of smooths out your under eye and it makes your skin look really nice. This is the fair shade, I think, which is the lightest. Yeah. So as you can see, incredibly full coverage. Another really full coverage option is the Boing Cakeless Concealer. And this one too is great for the same reason, but this one I think is a little bit lighter weight than the Doll 10. This one can get a little bit thick, so you have to be careful and just use a tiny amount. This one's a really nice liquidy concealer, but also packs a punch when it comes to coverage. So I have used Shape Tape in the past, but I've since replaced it with both of these because I just like the formulas a little better. I feel like they're kinder to drier and more mature under eyes. And then the rest of my concealers are lighter to more medium coverage. So one of my favorites is this JOAH Truly Yours Dark Circle Concealer. This looks like an absolute mess. I'm so sorry, guys, but it is such an amazing concealer. It's so lightweight. It reminds me a little bit of the Age Rewind from Maybelline, but it's even nicer than that one. I think it gives a little bit better coverage and it is just so smoothing on the skin. Like, it doesn't even look like you're wearing product. It doesn't cake, it doesn't crease. It's my absolute favorite. It's the one that I reach for most often because it also kind of brightens up the eye area. But probably the one that I use the second most often is this Moist Creamy Concealer from Apu. This is one that I got from Yes Style, and this is a really good dupe for the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. It is just such a beautiful formula. I have it in two different shades. I have number 1 and number 3. And I find that I use number 1 more in my under eye area to brighten, and then number 3 all over the rest of my face because it matches my skin tone really well. And number 1 is a little bit lighter. And this is just, here, let me show you. I have like a little mark right there. And it's just such a creamy formula, but it covers everything. Like, it just covered that red spot so nicely. And it looks like skin. So if you have a really dry skin or textured skin, it's a beautiful product for sure. So this is another awesome one, and I think it's like under 10 bucks too, so it's a great deal. Another favorite from the drugstore is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. This one is very similar, I think, to the Apu. I like that one maybe just slightly more, but this one is easier to get. So, and it's kind of along the same lines, I feel like. It's also very lightweight, very creamy. It's very similar. It has good coverage, so, I mean, this is another really, really good one. This is another one that I got pretty recently. It's the Laura Geller Spackle Concealer, and this one is supposed to be like her spackle primer, but in a concealer, so it has like a little bit of coverage, but also that primer type feel. And it's actually very kind to the under eye area as well, especially if you have dryness or texture. And again, very, very creamy. It's lightweight. It helps to smooth out fine lines and wrinkles, which is really nice too. So I haven't been using this one all that long, but it's already starting to become one of my favorites as well. The Zoeva Authentic Skin is not really my favorite, surprisingly, even though I absolutely love the foundation version of this. The concealer I just felt like was okay. I don't think the coverage is as good as I wanted it to be, and it just doesn't look as amazing as the foundation. I mean, it's good. I don't think it looks necessarily like really dry or anything like that, but I just think that there are other ones that I just mentioned, like the Apu or the Milani, that are kind of similar, but for a much more affordable price. So I would just probably grab one of those instead of this one. And then last but not least, I have two more drugstore options that I got very recently. We have the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Sorry, I don't know why this isn't focusing. The e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and then the Wet n Wild Mega Last Incognito. I just did a video on this one the other day as well, along with their tinted hydrator. And this one is really, really good coverage and looks super smooth on the skin. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Catrice concealer. It dries down super, super fast and really looks smoothing on the skin. And then this one I think is nice. It has a satin finish. It's pretty good coverage as well. It's not my favorite. Like, I don't like this one more than the Apu or the Milani, but I think it's good. It's okay. I tend to use this one when I'm doing cut creases. I use this to put on my eye and then put the eyeshadow on top because I find that it's like a really good base for that. So usually I'm using this for that versus actually under my eyes. So anyway, guys, that is my entire collection of complexion products. I hope you enjoyed this video and kind of some of these mini reviews and found it helpful. And I would love to hear what your favorite complexion products are and what you're loving down in the comments below, especially if there's anything that you think I should maybe try out for my skin type. I always love hearing your suggestions. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I appreciate it so much. And if you're new to my channel and you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because I will be doing more collection videos this month and next month. So anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.